Mark Robinson's past, it's starting to show. Got some folks wondering how far it'll go.
It's Mark Robinson's reckoning, as Mark Robinson's controversial past raises questions amid his gubernatorial campaign. Welcome to hashtag Go Right with Peter Boykin, where we cut through the noise and bring you the facts. Today, we delve into the explosive news surrounding North Carolina's Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson, as he faces growing scrutiny and allegations about his controversial past. As a constitutionalist for liberty and a proud supporter of our constitutional republic, it's our duty, it's my duty, to hold every candidate accountable, regardless of political affiliation. So let's break down the facts and expose the truth. Starting with the rise of Mark Robinson. Mark Robinson entered the political spotlight in 2018, defending the Second Amendment during a Greensboro City Council meeting. His impassioned speech vaulted him into public attention, and by 2020, Robinson became the Lieutenant Governor of North Carolina. In 2023, he set his sights on a higher goal, becoming the state's next governor. I know this all well because I was in the Guilford County, North Carolina GOP. I also spoke at the City Council in Greensboro a lot. I wasn't there the day that Mark Robinson spoke, but I noticed he got popular. He was invited to come to our GOP and became more of an active part. At that time, I had followed him myself and thought he was a swell guy. He came to a couple of my rallies. I went to his rallies, and the wool was pulled over my eyes. Until later on, when he ran for lieutenant governor, that's when I started to recognizing the hidden past. So let's move on to Trump's paid endorsement. However, his endorsement by former President Donald Trump in this gubernatorial race has sparked a widespread speculation. Many are questioning whether this endorsement was genuine or simply a transactional arrangement, considering the fact that Mark paid for an event at Mar-a-Lago that Donald Trump spoke at and spoke of Mark Robinson. It was still a paid event. I never personally saw the normal formal things that are sent out by the Trump campaign or Trump that literally said, this is who I endorse. It's more of an implied thing. So we have to remember Donald Trump did not have the full details of Mark Robinson probably at the time. Michael Whatley, our former chairman of the North Carolina GOP, probably clued in Donald Trump. And we've noticed this, that there's been something different. Notably, when Trump visits North Carolina, he rarely mentions Robinson or involves himself in the governor's race. His distance has led many to believe that Trump's support for Robinson may not be as firm as initially portrayed. Meanwhile, controversy erupts over CNN report. Robinson's campaign hit a major roadblock when CNN released an explosive report alleging that Robinson made inflammatory comments on a pornography website over a decade ago. These comments include calling himself a black Nazi, advocating for slavery, and engaging with transgender pornography, despite his public criticism of the LGBTQ plus community. I've said it's always the loudest who claim they don't like something, and then it turns out, boom, they might have been interested. That's my opinion. Now, while Robinson has categorically denied these allegations, calling them uncharismatic and attempt to by his political opponents to smear his reputation, the evidence presented by CNN has raised serious doubts. Robinson responded to the allegations by accusing the left of conducting a high-tech lynching orchestrated by his Democrat opponent, Josh Stein. I, too, wonder about the post. I, too, have heard that, somebody with the control with this old website could go back and change posts or insert and hack. But one thing's for certain, this website wasn't just thrown up to yesterday. This website is documented in the website Internet Archives. It has been around. It is being used currently now. and that Mark Robinson has other profiles with that same username. So things kind of match. If it wasn't for the other things going on, the other controversy and the other things that Mark Robinson has said, you would possibly be able to brush this off. But so many people have brushed this off and brushed this off. And don't get me wrong, this is not the same as what they do to Donald Trump. A lot of people say that. But we know what they've put on Donald Trump has always been proven incorrect. And what they've said and generalized Donald Trump into saying is not anything he said. But unfortunately for Robinson, he has led people to believe this kind of stuff. So whether you want to cope it or not, let's continue on. Despite speculation Robinson might withdraw from the race due to the timing and seriousness of the allegations, he has remained in the race. Some within the political sphere believe that stepping down at this point would be an admission of guilt. The timing of absentee ballots being sent out makes it logistically difficult for a replacement candidate to be selected without causing major disruptions. Meanwhile, there's fallout within the Republican Party. As the controversy escalates, Robinson's standing within the Republican Party appears to be on shaky ground. According to the Carolina Journal, unnamed sources suggested that the Trump campaign staffers have quietly urged Robinson to withdraw from the race. However, Trump's aides have not publicly confirmed these claims. Mike Lonergan, a spokesman for the Robinson campaign, dismissed the allegations as complete fiction. Scott Lassinger, a Republican candidate for North Carolina Senate, took a bold stance calling for Robinson to step down. Quote, "No one should feel obliged to support a candidate solely due to party affiliation," Lassinger wrote on social media. His message echoed a growing sentiment among some Republicans who believe Robinson's controversial history may damage the party's chances in the upcoming gubernatorial race. I also believe that. Personally, I do not think he can do the job properly. And that leaves us with Stein. It's unfortunate, but more than likely, in my opinion, Stein will probably end up being our next governor. Let's just hold him to the fire. So the GOP's response, the North Carolina GOP has rallied around Robinson, dismissing the CNN report as a politically motivated attack. In a statement, the NC GOP stated, quote, "Mark Robinson has categorically denied the allegations made by CNN, but that won't stop the left from trying to demonize him via personal attacks. The left needs this election to be a personality contest, not a policy contest, because if voters are focused on policy, Republicans win on Election Day." While the report has led some Republican figures to distance themselves from Robinson, others within the GOP have shifted the conversation back to policy, urging voters to focus on the economic and leadership failures of the current Democratic administration. The GOP's stance is that personal attacks will not outweigh policy issues, and they are banking on voters prioritizing their well-being over character smears. I'll tell you this, get out there and vote for Donald Trump. If anything, I have always stated Donald Trump can get the job done. I do not care what political party Donald Trump is in. He can get the job done. When it comes to other individuals, we have to look and vote, not by party, but by country and by who can actually get the job done. And if it's someone not exactly with our party, we have to hold them to the fire and accountable, especially in a governor's race as governor, accountable to the opposite party that he technically doesn't represent, because in that role, he has to represent everybody. That goes for president, that goes for governor, that goes for congressman, that goes for senators. They have to be held accountable to all citizens. It's we the people, not we the Democrats, we the Republicans, we the blah, blah, blah. But there's another reason why so many people are unaffiliated voters in North Carolina. So Josh Stein's campaign reaction. Josh Stein's campaign seized the opportunity to capitalize on Robinson's troubles, releasing a statement that accused Robinson of being completely unfit to be governor. Stein's team has since launched a Republicans for Stein initiative gaining support from former Henderson County State Representative Chuck McGrady and over 50 other prominent Republicans. Robinson, however, remains confident, telling voters, quote, "The people will speak, and when they do, I'm sure they will choose Mark Robinson." Despite his optimism, copism, that's what I've been telling people, copism. Recent polls show Robinson trailing behind Stein, leaving the Republican Party in a precarious position as the election draws near. All I got to say is vote for Trump. Come out to vote regardless. Nobody's forcing you to vote for Mark Robinson. Nobody's forcing you to vote for anybody, but come out and vote for Donald Trump because it's important. Now, what happened if Robinson withdrew? Note that Robinson did not withdraw, but if he had decided to withdraw, the process, and he still might, I don't know what the process would be at that point, but the process, if he had withdrawn, which they gave him almost no time, the process of selecting a replacement candidate was already in place. The North Carolina Republican Party State Executive Committee would choose a new candidate, but due to the timing of absentee ballots, the new candidate's name wouldn't appear on the ballot. Votes cast for Robinson would be transferred to the replacement, potentially complicating the Republican Party's path to victory. Meanwhile, political science professor Chris Cooper speculated that someone like State Treasurer Dale Folwell could have been a viable replacement. However, since Folwell ran in the Republican primary for governor earlier this year, he is legally ineligible to replace Robinson, further narrowing the pool of potential successors. Wow. As a gubernatorial, and also somebody like Weatherman, who's running for lieutenant governor, turns out he would not be able to jump up to governor as well. It'd have to be somebody who's not even running. Mark Walker? Well, he kind of ran. I guess he dropped. He wasn't in the primary. He dropped out beforehand. As the gubernatorial race heats up, it remains to be seen how Robinson's campaign will weather the storm. He continues to make campaign stops across the state, doubling down on his platform and condemning his Democratic opponent. But with each passing day, more Republicans are questioning whether Robinson is the right candidate to lead North Carolina, and if not, who might step in to replace him. So what happens next? Robinson's refusal to step down has kept him in the race, but the damage caused by these allegations may be long-lasting. While his poll numbers have dropped, with Josh Stein currently holding an 11-point lead, Robinson remains defiant, continuing his campaign and telling his supporters, quote, "The people will speak, and when they do, I'm sure they will choose Mark Robinson." As Election Day approaches, voters are left with crucial decisions. Despite the scandal, Robinson still commands a significant portion of the Republican base, and the party remains hopeful that the focus will shift back to issues that matter most for North Carolinians, like the economy, public safety, and education. And in the weeks to come, voters will have a crucial decision to make, whether to stick with Robinson or seek a new path for their party. The outcome of this election will have a profound impact on the future of North Carolina and the direction of its leadership. I think it's time for us to go right.
He's running hard, the name's on the line, but there's more to truth than the party side. Mark Robinson's past, it's starting to show. Got some folks wondering how far it'll go. Words from the past, they cut like a knife. Contradictions that don't match his public life. He talks about morals, about standing tall, but his history's painted a different wall. So what do we stand for when the mask falls down? When the truth hits hard in a battleground state? Is it right or wrong? Where's the line to be drawn? Gotta dig deep, hold the light till the dawn. Oh, integrity, it's the price we pay for truth in our hands, come whatever may. He's calling for justice, but justice for who? With words in the dark, that we never knew. Talking about slavery, talking about race, while fighting for power in a delicate space. They say about Democrats or Republican pride, it's about the truth that's too big to hide. At Go Right News, we'll say it aloud. We hold all sides accountable, no matter how proud. Will we hold on tight to the values we claim when the storm of the past sets the world aflame? Can we fight for more than a party's might, in the heart of the truth where we're finding light? Oh, America's strength is involved with lies. It's found in the courage to question the sky. The polls are slipping, but who can we trust when integrity's shattered, left in the dust? Robinson's fallen, but it's not just him. We're all on the line when the lights go dim. From Hitler praise to a twisted mind, what does that say about the future we'll find? This battle's much bigger than just one man. It's the soul of our country, the constitutional plan. So do we raise up the ones we know are true, stand for the values that'll carry us through? Or do we look away, pretend it's alright, when the price of our silence is losing the fight? Oh, liberty cries for the truth to be told, for the courage to stand, not for power or gold. The past haunts us, but we can still choose who we follow, who wins, who lose. If we want more than just party lines, we've gotta see, man, what real freedom defines. So here we are at the edge of the road, with truth in our hands, will we carry the load? It's time to decide what we're standing for, if we'll rise up higher or crash to the floor. Oh, America's voice, it's a powerful sound. When truth leads the way, we can't be bound.
And so I wrote something earlier as well, and I've updated the article before I've done this video. And so now I'll give you more commentary on this. It will repeat some of the issues, but it gives you more commentary on why I'm reporting this. Mark Robinson's past is a growing concern for the GOP. At hashtag Go Right with Peter Boykin, we stand firm on delivering the facts while exposing the truth on both sides. As a constitutionalist for liberty, we pride ourselves on holding all candidates accountable regardless of political affiliation. Today, we address a growing issue in the Republican Party that many of our fellow Republicans might dismiss as a political attack. But make no mistake, Mark Robinson's controversial past is no Democratic trick. It's the result of his own words and actions. A recent investigative piece by CNN revealed disturbing comments allegedly made by North Carolina Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson on an adult website over a decade ago. These comments are far more troubling for anyone vying to lead our constitutional republic. Under the username Minisoldier, MINISOLDR, Robinson allegedly referred himself as a, quote, black Nazi, expressed support for bringing back slavery, and shockingly enjoyed transgender pornography, all of which stand in direct opposition to his public stances as a socially conservative Republican. These revelations come at a time when Mark Robinson, is the Republican nominee for governor of North Carolina, a crucial battleground state. Despite calls within the party and even pressure from the Trump campaign to step down, Robinson has refused to withdraw from the race. This refusal comes as the first absentee ballots are set to be mailed, locking in the candidate list for voters to choose from. Now, let me be clear. The facts presented here come from various sources and reports, including CNN, WRAL, and the Carolina Journal. These outlets uncovered archive posts and biographical details linking Robinson to the mini soldier account. For example, posts under this username included personal details matching Robinson's life, such as his marriage time frame, his military service, and his mother's employment at North Carolina A&T State University. What's worse is that Robinson's actions on this website completely contradict his public positions on crucial social issues. He has consistently argued for policies like banning transgender people from using bathrooms corresponding to their gender identity, stating at a recent campaign rally, quote, "We're going to protect our women." Yet, under the same username, he graphically discussed his sexual attraction to transgender pornography. This stark hypocrisy undermines the very fabric of his political platform. Now, we at Go Right News have been warning about we've been warning you about Robinson for quite some time. In fact, we've written several articles on why he's the wrong candidate for governor. And I personally have been called a rhino and every name under the book. But I remind people, look at the material I put out. Look at the support for Donald Trump. I am absolutely a Republican. Just because I disagree with one candidate that's a Republican doesn't mean I'm a rhino. In fact, I should turn that around on the individuals who decided to censor Tom Tillis and the Republican Party. Are they rhinos? Did they call him a rhino? When we go around calling each other rhinos, we all look like asses, and nobody wants to be an ass. It's disheartening to see that many in our own party choose to ignore these red flags, attributing any criticism to a supposed Democratic smear campaign. But let's be honest, this isn't about party lines. This is about accountability and integrity. Robinson's downfall isn't the result of political attacks. It's the consequence of his own actions and statements. His past comments on race are equally shocking. Robinson, who would be North Carolina's first black governor if elected, has made deeply offensive remarks about civil rights leader Martin Luther King Jr., going as far to say is get that effing commie bastard off the National Mall. Such statements laced with racial and anti-Semitic slurs fly in the face of the principles that our constitutional republic stands for, which are equality, justice, and liberty for all. Even more alarming, Robinson reportedly expressed admiration for Adolf Hitler over the U.S. leadership during President Obama's administration. I might not like President Obama, but I sure didn't want Hitler. In one post, he allegedly wrote, "I'd take Hitler over any of that shit that's in Washington right now." This comment not only disrespects the memory of those who suffered under the Nazi regime, but also shows a dangerous disconnect from the values of freedom and democracy that our republic that America was founded on. Let's not forget Robinson's views on slavery. In another post, Robinson allegedly said, quote, "Slavery is not bad. Some people need to be slaves. I wish they would bring it back. I would certainly buy a few," unquote. These words are beyond harmful. They are deeply offensive to all Americans who cherish the ideals of freedom and equality that are enshrined in our Constitution. While Robinson denies making these comments, stating in a CNN interview that, quote, "This is not us, these are not our words," which I kind of question why you speak in the third person on this, the overwhelming evidence suggests otherwise. The email address associated with the account and various biographical details directly point to him. His campaign's denial and his attempt to shift the conversation toward attacking his opponent, Democrat Josh Stein, do little to change the facts. Robinson's history of inflammatory remarks has been a consistent theme throughout his political career. From advocating for an abortion ban with no exceptions to mocking school shooting survivors, Robinson has continuously courted controversy. Yet, despite his full endorsement from former President Trump, we already talked about that. I don't think it's a full endorsement, and his endorsement from the North Carolina GOP, which is their job to do, his actions are costing him ground in the critical governor's race. Recent polling shows Robinson trailing Stein, which could hurt not only his own campaign, but also Trump's prospects in North Carolina, a state crucial to the 2024 presidential election. Democrats, led by current Governor Roy Cooper, are framing Robinson's extremism as a liability for the Republican Party. This narrative may resonate with voters who are becoming increasingly concerned about Robinson's character and fitness to lead. Got the same concerns for myself in this race. I wholeheartedly have the concerns that Mark Robinson is not right for this race. At Go Right News, we don't shy away from calling out bad candidates on either side of the aisle. Mark Robinson's behavior isn't just a distraction for our party. It's a real problem that could cost Republicans the governor's mansion in North Carolina, and I think it already has. As Republicans, we must demand better from our candidates. Accountability and integrity should be our priority, especially when so much is at stake. In conclusion, Robinson's downfall is not the result of a Democrat trick. It's his own fault. His words, his actions have come back to haunt him around Halloween of all times. October surprise, a little early. It's time for the Republican Party to face the facts, hold our candidates to higher standards, and make choices that reflect the principles of our constitutional republic. This isn't about left versus right. It's about right versus wrong. That's why I call it Go Right News. Not right wing. Go right. Right versus wrong. This is hashtag Go Right with Peter Boykin, cutting through the misinformation to bring you the facts. Stay tuned for more updates as we continue to expose the truth, no matter where it leads. Stay tuned for the recap and a quick video, new video about this. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying through this. It's been a very long one. But here's the hashtag Go Right recap in case you're watching this and you missed most of it. In this critical moment of North Carolina's political future, Mark Robinson is facing growing scrutiny over his controversial past. With allegations surfacing from a CNN report, Robinson finds himself in a precarious position as polls show him trailing behind Democrat Josh Stein. While some Republicans are rallying behind Robinson, others like Senate candidate Scott Lassinger have called for his withdrawal, fearing that his candidacy could jeopardize the party's chances in the governor's race. Mark Robinson faces a critical moment in his bid to become North Carolina's next governor following an explosive CNN report that has rattled his campaign. Allegations of inappropriate comments on pornography website have cast a shadow over his candidacy, yet Robinson remains defiant, refusing to step down. The North Carolina GOP has thrown its support behind Robinson, framing the controversy as a distraction from important policy issues. But if Robinson was to have stepped down, the North Carolina Republican Party would have had to quickly select a replacement. However, the logistical challenges of absentee ballots and the limited pool of eligible candidates presented obstacles. I wouldn't have been able to run. As voters prepare to cast their ballots, the stakes for the state and the nation could not be higher. Former President Donald Trump's half-hearted, as far as I'm concerned, and possibly paid endorsement of Robinson has also come under scrutiny, with many questioning whether it was a genuine political endorsement or part of a paid effort. Trump's decision to distance himself from the governor's race during his visits to North Carolina further fuels the speculation. And ultimately, the decision rests on the voters. Will they focus on the allegations against Robinson, or will the policy considerations take stage? One thing is clear, this race is far from over. I kind of think it is, but the outcome could have far-reaching and will have far-reaching consequences for both North Carolina and the Republican Party. So at Go Right News, we're committed to bringing you the facts as they unfold. Stay informed, stay engaged, and remember our constitutional republic depends on the voices of informed citizens like you. Thank you for joining us. Hashtag Go Right with Peter Boykin. To stay updated on this story and more, visit GoRightNews.com. Follow us on Rumble at Go Right News and find hashtag Go Right with Peter Boykin on YouTube, TikTok, if they don't try to kick me down, Facebook, Meta, X, and other platforms. Want to support our work? You can donate via Cash App at $ Peter Boykin, the number 1, and links are available at GoRightNews.com and PeterBoykin.com. Stay vigilant, stay informed, and let's go right. Peace. Peace, folks. God bless.